Wow. Oh, hello, Dodo. Hello, the virus. I am. Uh, this thing playing. Meow, 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 meow. Okay. Yeah. Shit. Where do I even start? I am. I forgot what I talked about and what I haven't talked about. I'm sure I've been repeating myself a lot. But because it's the start of the week anyway, I'm just gonna say it again. Hello, George. Um, of the four things that were pending, right? Animation for Faye, Valentine's Day thing, that is currently on hold. The piece that we're doing on Faye that's very complicated, that is also currently on hold. Website for portfolio slash blog, that is currently in a somewhat okay, decent-ish spot, allegedly. The blog is not done, but everything else is fine. The framework is there, so that is also currently on hold. Uh, sorry, where is my clip studio pane? Here it is. It's not starting up. Uh, but anyways, I will show you guys what's happening here with the art analysis engine. So, before I do anything, I do have to reset and bring my filtering back because I have been adding quite a lot more features to this. Some quality of life stuff, some maybe slightly bloated stuff, but then okay, let me just go back one step, right? The whole point of doing this in the first place was that I said that I need to find a logical conclusion to the stream. And in order to do so, I need to know where I want to be and how there I want to be, right? Like how good what is good and how good I want to be. So that was things that I have to answer. In order to do so, I have to go through all 5,000 bookmarks. Essentially, what's the problem? And somewhere in that train of thought, I kind of got distracted, and I started going back to an old idea that I had like 2 years, way before stream started, where I wanted to make an analysis engine. Uh, and because of the recent improvements in sort of AI, and I decided to give it a try. And then within a week, something really interesting came up, and that was how we got to this point. Of course, quite a few more weeks afterwards has been spent to sort of improve upon the idea, but so this is currently what we have, right? So on top of what we had before, there were a couple of quality of life improvements. Primarily, this whole idea of sort of filtering out images that I want to sort of analyze a little bit deeper over the 5,000 images. In order to do so, you kind of have to sort of find either number one, you come up with really good scripts here. Like for example, here you can maybe you will see, maybe you won't see, but like I have changed the content a little bit. The numbers here are slightly different, right? And then it's maybe a little bit more interesting, a little bit less interesting. I'm not really sure. Let me change it to the value boundary. So as for the specific math and like what they do, some of the ideas came up. Some of it got extended by Claude. But then the idea you can kind of see what's happening, right? So it's splitting stuff by value and it's splitting stuff by sort of color variety, whatever that means. Because they did name it. I don't have any idea of why it's named the way it is named. But you can kind of see a little bit more of like, let's say this is like your HSV color space. It's like a square, right? Just like your color picker on um the thing. It doesn't correspond one to one for sure, but you can sort of see the colors in here, right? And then the values and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit better at extracting some sort of these relationship between images. It's a little bit better, but the exact usefulness is very limited, primarily because we have a lot of issues where, let's say for example, the background is like I'm still scared to click, by the way. Let's say the background is completely white versus it's like a flat background versus it not having like a fake background but like an actual real illustrated background. Okay, that's not a good example. Like an illustrated background, the math all works out very differently, and some of the numbers here are smart enough to try and account for that. Some of them are not, but regardless, that is one of the upgrades, some new idea for scripts. But the second thing, the most important thing, is a review all tab. So this here allows me to go through all 5,086 images. Quite a few of them has been filtered out because of being suggestive or not safe for work, but I'm still currently going through that list. Eventually, once I'm done, everything that so you can see the filter here is actually very smart here. So you can add more or less logic in order to filter out stuff that is, you know, I want to show or don't want to show on screen. Um, and here you can see the tagging system. So we have our own tagging system here. Eventually, what I want to do is that I want to either do this on stream or off stream. Doesn't really matter. Either one works. I want to go through all 5,000 of them, and I want to classify them as whether if they're sort of useful for me as an analysis standpoint versus they're just something that I like because I was too horny for whatever reason. Um, so that is the sort of classification here. We have like images that I might like due to color choice. In this case, it is probably more of like overall balance. The specific tagging still requires a little bit more sort of work as I'm tagging, going through and tagging. Hello, Dodo. As I go through the tagging process, I'm gonna realize that things are not enough or things are too much or whatnot, and then I'll sort of classify all the tagging. So you can see analysis color is either because I like the color, I like the rendering, I like the proportion, or I like the design, right? And then furriness is just here for me to see if there's humans like this, camo mimi or furry. There's explicitness, which is just how not safe for work it is. Um, this is primarily sort of viewed from a point of view of sort of from a stream perspective, right? It is not necessarily a hey, there is skin, it means that it is explicit. There are also cases where the character is clothed, but it's very clearly sort of sexual context. Then in which case I'm gonna mark it, I'm gonna filter it out. Um, Also the medium, you can see there's 2D, 2D animation, manga, 2D, live 2D, 3D, music, photo, video. The only ones that are currently here are essentially 2D art. There is nothing else other than 2D art here. Also, there are different nature of content. Like, for example, original content versus stuff that's more maybe like a guide based. Like, if you look at number 3 and 2 here, these are kind of more guide based sort of content. And then last but not least, we have the favorites list, and then we have our hidden. So these are just additional sort of control factors here to allow us to do certain things. But you can see like we have collected. So from this number from 1 to about 1800 is pretty safe. I just went through it. Actually, I literally just went through it. I sat here, just went through it. Um, and pretty much the filtering for this is very suggestive, as you can imagine. Not suggestive. Sorry. What's the word? Not objective. Subjective. God damn it. But in any case, you can see it's a very crazy mix of like manga, of like really rendered stuff, photo bashing, design. This is done by the artist of all the Ryan Lab characters, by the way. Backgrounds, sketches, everything, photos, and like all this stuff. So I need to go through this, and then later down the line, this will serve as a very good sort of base for us to not only analyze new people's art because I can see where they are in relation to everybody else, but also specifically, for example, like if I didn't tag anything yet, but if I have like a list of people that I just realized this didn't save my number. That's a feature problem, but like for example, all the colors and proportions. Let's say all the colors that I like, I can get a feel for, hey, between all of these different ways of rendering and styles and proportions, I do actually like this group of color for whatever reason. And that will just guide me in a direction for color, right? And we have this persistent storage here. The tags are sort of all persisting, and it's great. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't show that because that has some explicit stuff. Let me hide it. I can't even see it. We have the search. We have all the other things that are still here, but there's some quality of life with respect to the way that they respond. Whoa. Okay, I also probably shouldn't click around randomly. But anyways, this is what's happening here. I do at least have to go through every single one to make sure the not safe for works are filtered out before we can view them together on stream. Which I think will be interesting, I think. It harkens a little back into the past where we actually did some sort of what was the word? Looking at a large variety of art styles together. I think in the past we did do like look at the hairstyles or something like that, you know, different ways of rendering hair and put it together. But yeah, anyways, as for the actual stream content, going forwards, just to be a little bit more complete here, the let me see. Oh no, VS Code is actually the best place to see this, ironically. 1 second here. Sorry, what is this giant ass space here? Get out of here. Curation, nice information. So again, this is our stupid ass document that has like a whole bunch of shit consolidated. But specifically, we are on a couple of sort of journeys, if you will, a couple of different ways of focusing and dealing with the stream. Previously, you guys should be familiar with the color and the render stuff. We did a lot of this color thing and one render thing, I think. And then there's also design for like websites and like just interesting looking poster ideas. Storytelling, different ways of presenting ideas. That's kind of what we were trying to do for like the Fey complicated piece. At some point I was like, oh, I gotta get better at anatomy too. But then I think the biggest problem now is this idea of yeah, we are yeah, I don't know. Like the style thing, you can kind of try to force certain aspects of it, but maybe letting it be, done naturally is the one and only correct way to do so. Because if you try to force things, it doesn't really make too much sense, I suppose. You kind of want to draw your idea, right? Express your ideas and your stories and constantly have your personality come out and let these other things sort of naturally filter out and you focus purely on the story per se. Um, However, currently we do have an issue where we scope creep like crazy. Like I am so good at creeping the scope that I just kind of lose track of like, hey, why are we doing this analysis thing in the first place? Like I should have probably stopped quite a while ago instead of letting it become what it is today. As cool as this is, as potentially useful as it might be down the line, this is definitely a little bit overboard. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is, I feel like the streams going forwards, we should try to be as simple and as compromising as possible. The whole idea is that we want to draw Faye and Rhea, or maybe not even necessarily Faye and Rhea, but like any character in a background, but try to complete everything within three hours, within a singular session. Well, a singular session isn't necessarily 3 hours because I yap a lot, and also dailies and whatnot. Where's my pen? God damn it. But yeah, and that in doing so, it forces me to sort of recognize the fact that, like, number one, you don't really necessarily have to be super duper detailed and robust, right, in order to present your ideas. And then number two, it forces me to figure out what is the most important thing, right? And as a result, I might get a little bit better and not creeping the scope like so much. That's kind of what I hope to achieve with this plan. I don't know if it would help me get there. I don't know how well I can do it, but um, yeah. But anyways, it is kind of the plan. I just keep hearing underwater noises. Where is my reference board? I don't know where it went. Reference 311. Yes, here we go. So, anyways, it's been a huge detour, and I still don't have any art pieces to show for it. Yes, please help me. I am under the water. So, it's a bit. I don't feel too good about myself, but at the same time, a lot of these sort of tangents are kind of wrapping up or like arriving at sort of pretty natural checkpoints or stop points. So it's good, I suppose. We like there's not much progress art-wise to show for it. It's not necessarily for lack of trying, and then there are also other things that are showing what. Anyways, so I'm just going to reconsolidate a little bit, and just do some more sketches, more colored sketches, and then see how I feel about that. The problem now is these color sketches. Yeah, these color sketches are very interesting. Sorry, I'm just looking at references now. So now I'm looking at references. Where's the junk? Oh, it's a Chrome. Okay, I'm just gonna look this up. VS Code is not necessary. I'm gonna free some memory here. But yeah, I think. Yeah, you really don't really see the struggling. Like if artists don't post for a while, you just think they're busy. You don't necessarily think that they're in an art block, right? Because why would you assume that they're failing when nothing so far in the timeline suggests that they ever did? But mine is the other excessive end where I just don't post anything because nothing ever feels like it's correct or right enough. Even if we ignore the quality, right? Even if we ignore all the compromises that we made to rendering details and like the impressiveness factor, I'm trying to look for something that is a little bit fun. I'm not really sure how I should approach this from like so I know I want to make things quicker and faster. I think the original idea is that we start off with something that is just a character, right? understand like how much work it is to sort of just get characters in. Yeah, like for example, like this, right? We can just take this scene. It is decently self-contained, right? The perspective isn't insane. It's pretty much one point perspective. The background isn't too insane. Well, in any case, it is meant for us to simplify. And then we can also just take this pose, and then at most I just add one more character sitting on the side here, for example, right? And but like, would there be any value in doing so? Let me just try to be more mentally clear about this, because the issue here is that there is a very strong tendency to be like, hey, sure, your thing is about simplification. God damn it, AI, get out of here. Like, sure, your whole thing is about just trying to simplify. So focusing on just learning how to simplify from a photo reference is good. But my mind now is constantly telling me that, you know, this simplification and compromisation is, you have to understand what it is they are trying to convey, right? The message that you're trying to convey. And then chances are taking just like any random photo and doing it, I'm not really that sold on the idea. Like, for example, if I were to put Faye here or put Ria here, what exactly is the idea here? Are they just sitting there? You know? So I feel like there should be some amount of like, hey, I feel it. I feel the image. I feel the inspiration. But then at the same time, I also don't want to spend forever looking for that inspiration. So maybe at most like 5 minutes of like scrolling around. I saw like, why is wrong with Pinterest? Why is it doing this? What kind of shitty as nonsense is this? Like, I can only imagine this is a front end issue. Because data is just being fed. Like maybe some things are being filtered out, but then front end should be responsible for packing the thumbnails together. Because that's why my own thing had to do. Because there were a lot of holes. Anyways, this is a pretty good idea, I think. Easier than storytelling, only need visually do in the context. Yes, indeed. I would say like uh part of it is also like I don't have a very interesting life. I think like if you have like a very interesting life, every day you're going out, meeting new friends, having new adventures in the city or whatever, you have endless stories to tell. Because people is what is interesting, right? If you go out and meet new friends, you can hear their stories and get inspired by that as well. But I just don't have that, you know. Like I just don't have anything that I really want to tell. Mm. And like what I really want to draw, I guess, is also, well, okay, let's not get into that, because there's a very slippery slope, as I've come to learn. Every time I think of like the fact that I should do things correctly by being inspired, by understanding all the characters and the stories, and then making sure that everything is canon. Oh boy, like if I make sure everything is canon, that is a problem. Like then nothing ever happens if that's the case. It takes forever to filter things through, and then even at the end of it, I'm still not really that sure. Uh, I don't really have a goofy character, I think, is the thing. Like, if I'm looking at a lot of these pieces, if I were to put Ria or Faye in there, they're just kind of walking. Like, Faye doesn't like going out in the first place, and then Ria just doesn't have any emotions. And then the best Faye can do is sort of just kind of look at Ria, I suppose. I'll try to be a little bit more emotive, like emotionally expressive for her sake, but then it's just kind of if you have some goofy ass character, then I suppose there's a lot more things to tell. Yeah, I need to add a new tag to the thing. Now I'm looking at the thing. This definitely needs a new tag, the map. It needs a new tag for storytelling. We need to find people who are very good at storytelling and take a closer look. Imagine what kind of like reference they might have started off of, and how they might have come up with the story that they did. Assuming they did. I mean, they would have had to in order to fit that criteria to be referenced in the first place. Anyways, I'm ranting on. Um, yeah, nothing's really that interesting, is it? What would be interesting for the two of them? I don't know. Well, let's not get too caught up either way, though. I think even with this idea in mind here, this photo that we have here, it's still gonna take a while for me to figure out what to do with it. Oh, I don't have opacity, do I? I don't feel it. But there you go. Anyways, a lot of problems to solve, I suppose. And then the biggest problem of all is just to not scope creep. Get pieces out, get things done. We're just gonna take a lot of things as is. We're gonna use as I want to use the word cheat, but then it's not necessarily cheating, right? You're gonna use as many tools as possible to help you finish it fast. If perspective rulers help, if stamps help, if texture brushes and like patterns help, and so be it. You know. Let's get a rough map here of what's happening. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Everything continues. What is the goal for this year? Right? Like, I feel like it would make sense to find a spot where I want to be, like a style, and how far I want to be along that style, and get there. Is that music for ends? Is it even playing? And then my space heater is way too loud. I cannot hear anything because it's got a fan in it. But anyways, what would they be doing here? You hear water water noise? Not music, right? Water noise. Um. But yes, thank you, George. My one-on-one thing is set up for I think in like 2 weeks, in like 13 days ish. Then what else is there? Not much else in my life, I suppose. My stupid ass reflector is finally done at work as well. Today it was kind of funny because I was talking about co-organization with my manager. There was a lot of decision to be made about how to organize code, and I don't know how many people might appreciate the what I'm saying here, but essentially many ways to do the same thing, and depending on who you are, you might think one way is cleaner, another way is cleaner. Um, but at some point we talked about like the largest files that we have in the code base, and we have a 20,000 line file. And my manager's like, yeah, but that's fine because it's kind of like a book. And I just broke out laughing because you don't tend to describe a singular source file as a book. That's not exactly a good thing. But he meant it in a good way, as in like it's very structured. You have different chapters and you have like a table of contents, but it's still kind of ridiculous that it's 20,000 lines. Um, what are these two idiots doing if I have them walking here? Let me think. It's less of monolith, and it's just actually I'm not really sure. It's just legacy. Maybe people in the past thought that is a good idea. I mean, you do have everything you need in that one module in that one file. Um, sure. And at some point, like it's legacy code, right? Like because even when I was doing the refactor, the biggest problem is that I see things that don't make any actual logical sense. I don't know why the same thing is being done the same in different ways. I don't know why similarly named variables are used differently. It's very frustrating to read, but a part of you wants to believe that it's there for a reason because it works. So, like, should I touch it? Should I not touch it? Right, my refactor, I say it's done, but tomorrow I'm beginning official testing, and I don't think it's gonna go very well. But we'll see. Regardless, it's very... Yeah, I mean, my job actually requires me to touch it. Like, it is touch for... Not because I want to just randomly touch it, right? I have to touch it for a requirement. I just maybe touch a little bit more than what they had hoped. Once again, the scope creeping thing. I am a bloody genius at it. Maybe we just find some goofy ass poses, for example. Doesn't necessarily have to make sense, I suppose. Like, Ria's not gonna have any emotion. But maybe that's what Faye is trying to do. Just to teach her emotion, teach her what having fun is. But Faye is not really the right person to do so, though, because she wouldn't know anything herself either. She can be one of those really awkward characters. So she's just like, oh, this is what people look like when they're having fun on online when it looks at other people's photos, and she just thought like maybe doing it is the right way to do it. Because if you've never experienced it yourself, the only way you can probably try to do it would be what you think is the correct way of doing something, which I guess would be kind of a little bit more awkward because you don't really believe in it, but you're doing something that is kind of goofy. But like, what am I? Are they both doing the pose? Like, let me think about this. I don't know. I don't know. But simplification, sort of compromisation that I want to sort of get better at also kind of involves the whole, like, not getting too caught up in making an idea necessarily make sense or canon or consistent rather. Less of those things and more of just doing was the plan, anyways. What's the philosophy behind the decision, I guess? Hello, Yagami. HR is asking for a report. Report on what? HR asking for a report is usually more like human resource related, right? Like, well, we got more viewers today. If that counts for something, if that's what you're asking. Tell them they are okay. No. It's way too much underwater noise and not enough music. Like, bro. I don't want to be under the water no more. No more water. I'm gonna get copy strike by Genshin. Oh wait, no, they don't do that. I forgot. Drowning, huh? Drowning, I think, used to be like my greatest fear at some point. And as I got older, it became more and more metaphysical. No, I don't know what's the good way to say it, but it's more about like forgetting things. It's more about reaching old age without accomplishing anything. And then that became way scarier than actually physically dying. My god. Anyways. Framing is kind of weird. I don't know how big the characters would be here. She looks pretty tall there. Maybe I should stop drawing like 5% on the pixel. Yeah, I don't believe in this. What I'm drawing right now, by the way. I don't believe in it. I have not much, like maybe a little bit of vision, but it's not a great. Not very interested, I have to say. But that's not why I'm here. Again, I have to remind myself constantly that that is precisely the point, right? To not be fully invested, but still being able to execute. Ah, man. It's kind of conflicting because it's both easier to execute and harder to execute when you're not convinced, right? It's easier because you're not really buying into the idea necessarily that much. So like, yeah, it's kind of like a throwaway anyway. So you don't really have to render it so well. But on the other hand, if it's like an idea that you really are into, then I guess it's a bit easier to figure out what is more important. I'm not really sure what I'm talking about. Anyways. Yeah. Anyways, forget what I'm saying. I don't know how they're taking the photo, by the way. Because there's only two of them exist at this point in time. Well, let's not worry about that. So I want Faye to kind of look at her and be like, hey, this is how you do it. But she's kind of a little bit awkward and like she also not really sure. And then Ria just kind of looks at her blankly and be like, okay. That's kind of the plan right now. Yeah. I should have erased it. I do this every time. I keep forgetting. I should erase the guides first. Because we can leave it a little bit lighter here and make it easier to do. Yeah, proportion as well. Oh my god. Yeah, I just need the classifying thing, the tagging system to come online. Well, it's already online. I just need to get all the not safe for work stuff out. Then we can spend some time per stream, kind of just going through some pieces, seeing how I feel about it, and then slowly build the entire set together. So you guys can see how I'm building it out as well. I believe the virus actually said that quite a while ago now. Now that I think about it, I just haven't really delivered on what I said I would do. But you can see exactly that process. What did I say? Yeah, so that's the part that you kind of missed. But I did some upgrades to the tagging system. Sorry, to the analysis engine here. So 5,000 images. Wow, actually it's less than 5,000. It's only about 4,900 here. Well, yeah, plus minus error of margin. We have this thing that allows me to do tagging here. So down the line, we will have a very specific set of images that I like for the reasons of being like the colors that they chose or the rendering or the proportion of the characters, blah, blah, blah. So I can do a very targeted sort of analysis of each thing, right? Because everything is then isolated. We can also apply some analysis scripts a little bit more better because once you tie down the sort of data set, it also becomes a little bit easier because now you don't have such a wide spread of things going. Also, I'm hating this proportion right now. See, if I have the proportion tab thing ready, the tagging thing ready, I can just go in and be like, oh, this is the proportion I want from all these different artists. It's like, oh, why do I like these pieces from these artists? Oh, they seem to all draw this part of the character the same way. And there's a lot of value to be had. Like, not saying what Facebook and all the big tech companies are doing is right? Stealing data, invading privacy. But I can really see like the true the value. Actually, this is a little bit of a tangent, but this is something I found really interesting. Because if you put like aspect ratio and like height, oh sorry, I need to turn off the text. You can kind of see this here. So X is an aspect ratio, right? Which I'm actually not really sure what that means actually. But over here, it looks like it's longer. The images get longer and longer sideways. So presumably, as it comes down to the origin point, these images are like sort of taller, like this. But then you also have height itself. But then when you plot it, there's this very natural curve here, which is very interesting. This looks like 1 over x or something. I'm not really sure why that's the case. I never really give it too much thought yet. But against height, you get this. Against width, you get this. And of course, height against width, you also get your sort of distribution here as well. Yes, the idea is that you can do anything you want, because these scripts here function in any way you code them to be. So for example, actually one of the things I added, upgraded is this number of scripts here. Like for example, we can add this, we have a slider, I can turn it on. And then this, you can slide and check the values, for example. I can be like, hey, this image feels really bright. Like if I cut off at 80, value of 80, oh, you guys can't see this, sorry. This filter here has this slider here, right? I can cut off at value 80 here, and I'll be like, oh, these pixels that are currently shown are 80 and above, right? I can also look at the brightest part of the image. You can see that there's this apparent gradient here somehow. I'm not really sure how that works. Another thing you have to remember is that the math involved for colors and stuff is not very intuitive, right? Like pure white is considered purely 100% saturated, but to a human eye, it looks just as unsaturated as anything else. So it's a little bit hard to sort of tie down sometimes. But pure white isn't, I guess. There's one step in front that's apparently very... Anyways, you get the point. The scripts are, you have to kind of translate between sort of what is logical, which is the mathematical and the computer representation, to what is more intuitive, which is what we want, because that's what we are evaluating our base on. And it's all very interesting from like a science point of view. Anyways, I forgot what I was talking about, but it's probably not important. I kind of hate the proportions. I don't know why yet, though. We haven't drawn for so long. Oh, I remember. I think Ria's face tends to be a little bit rounder here. Marker here. Want to stay loose here as much as possible. Compromising on face, is that something I should or shouldn't do, though? That's the thing. It does take a lot of time to sort of figure it out. Can be thought of as part of the practice, though. What is the goal of this practice, actually? to learn to draw within a certain period of time, I guess. Figure out what's most important. I think I can spend maybe a little bit more time on the face, since it is the most important thing, and then everything else is gonna be kind of rough anyways. No, it's gonna be what this kind of looks like. I don't want to spend too much time thinking about this process anymore, honestly, because rendering binary approach versus like a painterly approach, I think regardless of what approach, I would just do what's most natural in the moment. So, like in this case, for example, rather than being stuck on like one color, one layer, and whatnot, which we did do for the base color, right? But like the colors are all actually entirely isolated uh to something. I guess there's a bit of gradient on the base colors, but other than that, like everything else, like the gradients and this big block of color here, you can see, is all applied on top. And the result come out not necessarily that bad, right? It's not very clear, it's not very well defined and some, but kind of works, kind of not works. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking through, but the one thing I hate about this is the proportion of the hands and how it's set up. The face proportion has some issues too, but like the hands are like the biggest problem. And I was going through my list and list and list of stuff here. Actually, I found something that was that I liked in the past that would have been the perfect reference for this. Let me see if I can find it, just to make sure that, because my list is a little bit not safe for work. But oh, I should turn off the filter. But this here, by this artist here, it's kind of like the same setup. It's got a nice balance between like human-ish hands along with sort of more furry-like hands. It's not unnecessarily big. It's also not necessarily too small. It looks just right-ish for the proportion. There was also that other artist, Japanese artist, drawing a manga of this cat girl that is more furry than your usual like cat-eared anime character, and she had like literal cat paws, like tiny as cat paws. So the proportion looks really out there, because like you have your normal size human length arm along with the width of the upper part of the lower part of the arm. And then anyways, it just tapers off to this very tiny cat paw, which I thought was very interesting. But anyways, it's a lot of value to be had. Yeah. The body and stuff is gonna look kind of unnatural, but let's not worry about that. I think not having a photo might hurt us quite a bit actually. For shit like this, the body has a lot of very subtle angles and perspectives sometimes, and it would be nice to be able to practice those as we are doing this, instead of always just compromising on anatomy. But I suppose, yeah, I'm trying to do more than one thing at once, right? Because then that should be an entirely dedicated anatomy study session, I guess. You know what? Now that I talk about it, okay, that makes sense. This should be focused entirely on just getting things done. As good or as bad as I can make it. As long as it goes somewhere. It's being okay with just moving. Like her expression makes no sense to me. It doesn't work. Some issues with perspective too, I feel like. No, not perspective. What am I talking about? Proportion here. Lamau. Get good. Feels bad. I wonder if I ever get used to like, it's a quote unquote my own style. Like figure out that, hey, this is how I like doing things. Or maybe it's kind of like your own voice. You always hate it. Like I mean, like you always just tolerate it at best. Like I just tolerate my own voice when I do video editing. It's not as cringe as I was when I was that recording for the Niji Sanji audition like 2 years ago, because I was literally howling into the mic. And then I went out my room. I closed my doors when I was doing it. I went out my room and I was like, my mom was like, "Oh wow, you're really trying hard at this thing." And I'm like, "Okay, great, thanks, thank you, mom." You didn't hear anything, right? But anyways, portions are kind of dubious. I think head is probably kind of too big for this turn sequence here. Head wouldn't have been too big if I made the eyes took up more areas, I'm pretty sure, but different control knob here. Suppose we just make this slightly bigger. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Wonder. I don't know what expression she would have. Would she be... Maybe not. It's not hard to say. I'm drawing pixel art again. Come on. Always picking pixel art. Oh yeah, no clear. Hmm. Oh, shit. Good thing I don't have a counter for a dropping tablet pen. It would have been way lower, I suppose, but that would have been a +1. It would be funny if she's getting someone else to take the photo for them, and then she would probably be very uncomfortable talking to people in the first place. And then now doing this thing, but then also not getting the full committed response from Ria. And then she's maybe in this very moment, she's just very self-conscious about the cameraman being aware and looking at them doing this stupid thing. Okay, where's my target? Wait a second. Wait. Okay, this is the correct side, right? I don't see it. Maybe it's too tilted. Should be more tilted this way, no? Okay, compromise. The issue is that the idea I had in the beginning was they trying to show her how to do it. But the poses are a little bit harder to do, I feel like. So why don't we just have this already be like the final, where they're both just looking at the camera. I guess the angle is kind of weird. The other idea that I just had is that instead of drawing Ria in in chapter 2, basically, we can just go straight to the end, I think. I do have an idea of what she should be like at the end. And then in that version of her, I think we can practice a little bit easier, because then any kind of poses, any kind of photos we can take as is. It will simplify a lot when it comes to like all the poses and the anatomy, clothing and everything, so I don't have to worry about all those things. And it becomes strictly practice for color and render and speed. I guess it's the same. Yeah, we never quite. Not sure. As far as still got pretty good. Interesting. Yeah, it's still kind of. It would make sense. Oh wait, her head is way lower than my target. Whoops. That's a good time to change it. Also, their face and facial proportions are gonna constantly change, so the character's vibes are gonna constantly be it's not gonna be very stable, I think. Pretty sure this face is very different from everything else so far. Not technically done, because I'm not getting the lock. So I'll still be tweaking it, but kinda sucks it's not just more consistent, a little bit faster. I'm gonna do one more layer of compromise here. I'm gonna drop it down to one character. This is I get the same vibes that I'm getting when I'm creeping. We're not strictly really going out of the original set boundaries just yet, but the vibes is kind of going towards like this is not gonna get done again, and I'm also not that into the idea. So drawing two characters is kind of a big commitment. I'm gonna drop it down to just Rhea so we can reuse the face here. Actually, I might as well grab that body too. I should scrap her. What am I doing? And it's gonna be part of the process as I figure out my my limits here. Actually, no, it's probably big enough. And the legs and bodies are not stretched out properly yet. And I'm gonna just take photos here because figuring out the poses being a little bit different is harder, of course. Time that we do not have. Oh, the perspective is different. It's kind of ish, but no, it's still lower than. It wouldn't be a lot of meaning, yeah. This wouldn't look very good still either. Unless I can change the face into something else. Have I ever done? Part of it might be the face here. My target is kind of shifted over. Go for this button. Be better. Both reading one way and then the other. Interesting. Pose is kind of weird. It's very stiff. Not sure why yet. If I don't have the ideally I should. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm not feeling the flow here. It is. It is allegedly, supposedly, Nord cry. I'm about to cry like holy shit. Yeah, this is we're at 35-minute mark, Nasha Town. Come to think of it, I haven't actually heard Enfield's BGM at all, by the way. I turned down the music and I never turned it back up, so I've never heard any of the music. Might have briefly heard some Wuling stuff, Might have. My god, my anatomy is absolute dog shit. Yeah. Because the perspective is different and I try to make it just work, I kind of turning it myself. Not very good. Why can't I just play games when I get home? Because the horizon is somewhere here. If you look at the ref for our second photo, whereas the first photo's horizon is above the head level. So that makes it not that compatible. I can't just tilt the body up. Because that would mean that she's leaning back a lot, which also doesn't make a lot of sense. So I need to stay in this perspective and just tilt this ever so slightly. But all these very minor, very minute changes are very hard to show accurately, of course, as we all know. Maybe it'd be more like this way here. There is some level amount of tilt and flow to this, I think. Just don't know where it is yet. Maybe that's drifted. I don't even need the full thing too, because most of it is blocked. And part of this process of simplification is just knowing, trying to figure out where I can just ignore shit. I just need the feel to be right, which it isn't doing. What doesn't feel right? Now it's just that I'm a very chill guy pose, which I don't like. God damn it. Is it not? Is it not just the same pose? I just realized. Right, minor change of direction. A time constraint be damned. No, I'm a no memes. Oh my god. If I see it, then it's not gonna happen. That also solves our arm problem, which is the main problem here, I think. Can't see shit. Huh? 40 target. Dubious. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We're locking a little bit better. Also, like, maybe just opening the mouth. We're gonna see this a lot, by the way. Blank expression up top, just a tiny open mouth. I don't know what expression to give her, but then if it's just blank, it's very blank, right? It's like, bro, it's like the T-pose of the face, you know? But just even opening the mouth a little bit kind of gives her a little bit of life. I wonder how confusing this is to you guys, because I'm saying she's kind of dead, but then at the same time I'm saying she needs life. So which is it, right? Like, what am I talking about here? What are we doing here? That would be a great question. No target. We're kind of going overboard the size of the tail here. I see. That is kind of sad. Can I make this more interesting? Check. Okay, this makes a bit more sense. So now the next problem is she gonna stay this small? I just realized it's not a lot of area for the character. This needs to go. Get out of here. No space for you. This needs to pull the line up so I don't get confused. Right. The decision making, I think we keep, because the background is part of the practice. So we keep. And then we can go into a final line already. I think that's the point. I'm not gonna do a cleanup because we need to make this work. Or rather learn to make it work. Current canvas size is 4K. So if I do this cut here, it would be 2K at least. I think that's fine. It's not like we need a high-res image here, but I'm trying to figure out what would make more sense, right? Because eventually when we draw stuff, we want to be higher resolution than this. So we should also practice with higher resolution because the way the brushes behave is different. Whoops. Did I mandate this? Then we can change it so that the rules are that we always have to use B5 here. Oh, why is it sideways? Hello, Debay. Yellow. Isn't that the lady that draws the no, not lady, oh my god, lady. Okay, it's not. There's that one artist that draws the crow lady. With the big boobs. And all the monster girls. But thank you, Duvay. Oh shit, where did I put the Duvay's daily thing again? Here. Link in the chat, link in the Duvet Daily. Okay, cool. Background is a very... Is this a photo? It's not a photo, dang, dude. Dang, it's like the shadow here as well. It's always I remember drawing rooms and stuff, but I always couldn't figure out what happens with the walls, right? Because obviously it's not one color. That looked really weird. Because then all these places you have the same color. And then yeah, I kind of gave up. I remember that was like a long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I tried it. I just gave up. And then it's like, oh, but the corners are darker. I'm like, huh? Are you, what? But like it's like the same wall though. It's like, oh. Ambient occlusion, right? Also just proximity, I guess. Yeah. But it's a weird concept to wrap your head around because it's like they're the same plane though, like, you know? But very cool, very cool. Is this a time lapse? Wow, okay, thanks. That first frame is already done, dude. Hello? Oh, they actually warp. I didn't realize they did a warp around the... Like, this beam here is not straight anymore. It doesn't play anymore? What? Damn. I appreciate that they didn't do like the ripples on the water. My god. Oh, that's the wrong arrow. Right. So what is the difference? Simplification. I see. It's a weird feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm just perceiving this to be very very realistic, right? But I'm looking at this and it's... Anyways, I think it's just down to like these details here. If like more colors were grouped together, then maybe it would have felt a little bit more stylized as opposed to this. This feels a lot more realistic, maybe because there's this huge range between big shapes and like very, very tiny sort of details and stuff, perhaps. Not so much the lighting, just the way that it's rendered. I think. I'm not sure, but now I'm coming up with a new idea for a metric over here. About the arm map thing. Because if we take a look at the sort of the detail level between like the smallest group of shapes versus the largest group of shapes, maybe like real life would have a larger variety as opposed to stylized stuff where you have a smaller this like difference, because shapes tend to be grouped, right? Because you don't want to paint like a bajillion colors, or rather you can, so you group everything bigger. Maybe that's one way of sort of evaluating style. Not just the presence of small shapes, but the range, the contrast, as well as I guess the dominance. Dominance, huh? Yeah, this will be very interesting, the math that is required. Actually, now I'm kind of curious. Where is that piece that we're looking at? Let me just grab this real quick. Let me just check. Actually, finally using this on stream here. Let me just pull the image that I just downloaded here. Give it some time to extract the information. First run is kind of slow for some reason. Always is very slow. There you go. But what I wanted is not that. Oh, actually, I don't have a way to see it. Oh, I don't. Okay, that's a bit of an issue. Alright, bug fix, bug fix. What I wanted to do was pull it into the analysis here, because I can do the filter for this. And I wanted to see how dense the areas look, because you can see like there's a good patch here because it's pretty empty. But if there's any form of noise, it's going to show up a lot clearer on this black and white as opposed to whatever color that it was on. So I just wanted to do a quick check on how sort of messy these areas are here versus the sky versus this part here. Because it feels like this part is very gritty. But I think this is the same. It's just the value contrast is not there. And oh yeah, then in that case, yeah, the map will be right. Anyways, sorry. I'm not sure what value there is to glean from any of this, by the way. Like from my own nonsense, not the person's art. But one thing I know is that in your brain, the more connections you can make between different concepts, the better of an understanding you have. You can see parallels and conflicting ideas and everything a little bit better. So when you look at one thing, you have a lot of connections to jump from. Man, I wish they showed time lapse of like the brushstrokes. I mean, I guess there's no other way than just to paint it, or like a. It's kind of hard to believe, you know, like all of these dots, really? Like, holy shit. Like, what? Like, look at that. The patience to go through this and be so tight. Like, this doesn't look like it's a stamp. Or maybe they have a custom brush that does it, but the fact that it tapers off so nicely. Hello, Uni. Because if it were a brush, like, the sizes wouldn't taper off, like, perfectly like this. I feel like. Oh, yeah, back to Dubai's dailies. And we're also just doing more random sketches now. Anyways, thank you, Dubai. I do want to get back and try to get some stuff done. What was my rule again? Do I want to force this? Let's not force it for now. I want to keep it here because it's easier to manage. What? Oh. Oh. Simple targets. Okay. 2, 3. quite long now. Thereabouts. Oh. Dang it. I zipped my headphone cord into my jacket again. Why is it so crispy actually? Oh, anti-aliasing is turned. Curious. Okay, let's just do done. Sorry, which one of my problems? which one? Which one of the problems? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Horns. Oh, wait. Let me see. Oh my god. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, this has to be. Oh my god. What the fuck am I looking at? Wow, this is so cursed. Also, you should. Oh my god. Whoever. Oh my god. Whoever did this. They're giving people too much power with this. This is a lot of power. Is this not safe? Is this safe for work? Cannot imagine the. Oh, I cannot imagine the. Okay, someone's gonna cause the creation of a new tag here. Okay, I have to see this on Twitter itself. Let me see what's happening. Yeah, am I allowed to show this on stream? Is this? Yeah, okay, yeah, so did you... Oh my god, what the hell? It's 3D? Okay, yeah, this is one of the most cursed things I've seen in a long time. Anyways, thank you for this. Wow, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be thinking about that for a while. Not the weird way. I gotta show my friends now. This is what progress in art looks like. New ideas. New generation defining ideas here. My god. God damn. That is a pioneer. Why haven't I seen something? It seems like detachable. It seems like a very logical solution. Oh. A live internet theory. Let's see AI come up with this shit. Okay, here's where we kind of have to do it in the correct order so things don't look weird. I need to do the big silhouette first. Silhouette. Oh, it's over here. Right, it's over here. Oh. Where are the shoulders? I got it too big. I just realized someone drew like the fart thing behind her ass. What? I didn't see that. What? What is? So like this is this angle. Compromise it. And balance this off. I can read the sequence. That's fine. A little bit close. Interesting. Wasn't expecting this. Did I? Oh, I see. They're both pushed instead of. It's very tiny opening. Ah, that's fine. Balance looks fine. So. I keep cutting myself when I like peel the apples. It's not like I'm new to this, but I think I've been a bit too impatient. I cut myself on the thumb today, and now it's the finger I used to press the undo button. It's kind of annoying. Somehow. I forgot one time how I cut my finger, and then I put like a paper towel over it, and I taped it up really hard so that like it stops the bleeding. And I sent a photo of that without the blood into my to my friends, and they're like, "What? Did you cut off your finger?" Because it's really hard to see what you're looking at on hindsight. It looks like a stump when I sent it. Anyways, good times, of course. Ah, I see. Not enough commit. never checked the length of this. I think it should be the same. Or not. Middle finger. I don't want to copy, I want to vibe. So but vibe requires a bit of a setup here. Right, but the vibe was this that I keyed. What does this mean? A bit too bent, huh? Maybe not that bueno after all. Oh, that's good. Right, maybe it should have been more. What? Oh. Alright, that makes more sense. It's 4.0 now. 4.0. I don't think I'm using any 4.0 features though. Or don't know. Do I see a hint of the vertical perspective being different? Sorry, vertical perspective? Anyways. Yum, yum, yum. Hmm. Not this one. Huh. Pleasantly surprised by the Nord Cry soundtrack today. I've never heard most of these pieces. But they remind me of some really old pieces. I forgot from where though. Hmm. Well, it feels like it's been so long since I've heard something like this. Alright, how should I deal with this? Oh yeah, no, I'm not on my own music today. I haven't been for like the past few streams. Well, basically the last week because I've just been yapping. I can't listen to anyone singing if I'm yapping. That's like self-DDoS. Yeah, me, I haven't checked in with him in a while. But he's been pretty busy with his, looking for a job situation. The last time I checked in with him, that is. It's just been a couple of weeks, I suppose. But these things take months, depending on your luck, so I'll just check in with him this Friday, I think. Well, I mean, from the fact that I'm saying he's still looking, I mean, he's still working on it. Like he didn't quite get into what he wanted to get into. Um, it is tough, I think, not just the industry, but also as a foreigner. I should really probably use layers here. Oh, I'm not locked. Oops. There you go. Colors would probably be retuned. I'm trying to be a lot more relaxed with some of these choices. It's so easy to get out of whack by just being like, oh, am I sure this is correct? Is that right? Is that right, sir? Water is kind of confusing to paint, huh? Like so many colors. Rotating shift, like 2 days work during daytime, 2 days work during evening. You're gonna have a lot of problems adjusting, I think. So, this is my own experience from doing the stream, right? Because as a result of the stream being at the time that it is, I have a weird sleep schedule, right? I have to sleep just before stream, and then sleep after, and my meal times are all kind of out of whack as a result of the weird sleep time. So once you start changing your sleep time, your meal times get affected. When your meal times get affected, your sort of internal systems kind of get affected a little bit. It's my own experience, of course, not based on science or based in science or anything. Based on, I don't know. No, based in also works, right? Anyways, yeah, like my digestive health is not very good. Partly because you don't really have energy to do stuff. Partly because the timing that you eat is kind of weird. In summary, I don't really like it. I don't really like 2 days daytime and 2 days nighttime. I feel like it would potentially mess you up, but it depends specifically on the timings as well. Because my concern stems from sleep schedule being affected as a result of the scheduling of your work scheduling. So if that's not really a concern, then it makes no difference, I suppose. I think that's how I would see it. Am I on the wrong layer? I am on the wrong layer. Yeah, no problem. Omika. Oh, I can just do swirly lines around. That should work. Just let me set it up. It just takes time to clean it, but then like once you get the idea in, I think if you zoom out, the vibes are kind of there, and then you can just kind of refine it. So the problem that I have to figure out is what line, where is that limit? Where should I stop rendering? I think we focus on the character first. This is just to get a rough guide in. What is this layer for? I think it's for my lines and shit, but I'll try to check it. Anyways, learning experience. Oh, man. I'll say not bad. We're not gonna finish this piece today. But depending on, I guess it'll be like 2 streams per image, even for something this rough. Like, we had a lot of heavy lifting done for us, because I used the photo pose as is, because I was really struggling. I think it's a good call to have cut it down to 1 character. I'm mostly trying to evaluate against how I feel about the speed at which I'm progressing, which I don't know if it's necessarily such a great metric. But then so far, my issue has been that I feel like I've been very slow, whether if it's coming, like, whether if it's the websites or just drawing. And that's the primary sort of source of burnout, because I just feel like I'm not very productive. So trying to keep that sort of feeling where I'm making good progress is, I think, is also important as a result of this experience. I would not have done it before, which is how I ended up where I was, but today's progress has been fine, I think. There is a lot of heavy lifting done, but at the same time, in the past, I wouldn't have been able to do it even if I were to want to use a photo anyway, so it's just kind of okay. So it all depends on how this rendering comes out and how long it's going to take. Next stream, yeah, next stream will probably be the background. Also, in the coming weeks, there's a good chance I'll start cutting streams a little bit shorter. I'm not sure about the exact amount yet, but I've been told to get a social life, which is great. My friend was talking to AI, ChatGPT or something, about how to improve his life. Literally got told to go outside, which is great. Yeah, I got to go out a little bit more, I suppose. Yeah. I wish I can just grind this forever, but I also understand that the path that I'm on right now is not very healthy in a lot of ways. Obviously, there's the whole food situation and sleep situation. But then, not socializing enough is also a bit of a problem. Especially it will get harder and harder as life goes on here. Oops, misclick. Where am I? Okay. A lot of things to do. Not enough means to do it. I've known some really disciplined people in my life. These are very high achievers. Way more than I ever have been. Have been? Had? Well, okay, anyways, grammar. But I remember, like, what, how many years ago was that? Like 15 years ago? My friend was telling me how he can never sit still if it's not actively working on something. Like kind of like what we're doing now, right? I have to be drawing every day. I have to think about my stupid ass websites and try to get more and new ideas and get things out there. He was like that 15 years ago. He couldn't sit still unless he's actually actively working on himself. Makes me wonder what he is today. Kind of a crazy individual. He had he had all sorts of, like, he had social capital, he had good results, he had Back then I was learning guitar, right? But guitar is nowhere compared to it's not as difficult as compared to electric organ. Um, so it's like this piano keyboard looking thing, but it has the pedals, the foot pedals. So you have to play songs on with your two hands and your 2 feet. He was really good at that. Uh, Everybody liked him. Very high achiever. Insane. Why am I talking about this? I kind of forgot. Anyways, it's getting late, so I'm getting tired. And then my self-loathing just comes through. So, okay, check. People working 2 jobs. Would be nice, but alright. Main needs to reset on the call. Thank you very much. I'm gonna push for non-standard structure. When's the last time everything not going crazy? Like, you know what, like for me? You mean like not pushing limits like this? It's literally before the stream started. Like I have said before, like streaming is kind of born out of desperation of me wanting something to be different in life. And the reason why it was born out of desperation was because I felt like I wasn't doing enough before. Because I was not doing enough before. I would, you know, find various excuses and ways to make sure that I don't work and try to do stuff that I cannot already do. Once in a while, I would try painting and it wouldn't go very well. And then be like, yep, we tried. Let's go back to gaming. Shit posting in TF2. Otherwise, it would be what? I went to university today. I got classes today. I'm not gonna work today. I don't feel so well today. Oh, I can't draw today. Oh, no good ideas today, guys. Well, no guys though. It's just myself. But yeah, haha. Yeah, I really admire those people who can keep going. A lot of the stuff that came out recently as well, like the analysis engine and the website, is also because AI is so powerful. I can just get the AI to do it. Otherwise, I don't have the capacity or patience to write it out again. Or the code and stuff. Oh, wait, I should bleed it. Because it's gonna get covered by the clothing. I wanted to go through the lines here just in case we have 2 borders there. As always. That was just easier. I can take it. Yeah, like if we... That's why the world's kind of fucked, I think. Because everything is zero-sum game, right? If we have stuff like universal basic income, I don't know, right? Because this might get political and stuff. I don't really understand this that well. But I feel like if everyone had like $10, then it means no one had $10. Because the prices would just adjust accordingly. Would it not? So it feels like by definition, by the way the world works, like it's just like, you know, not everyone gets to relax. Most people would not get to relax and try to achieve their dreams. I feel like that is how it is. Could be wrong though. That would be nice to be wrong. Where's my... What am I looking at? There's a lot of lines. Oh, so this line is for clothing. The other lines for the one single strand of hair, I think. This feels nice, this workflow. It's about at the limits of my own patience. It's moving fast enough. Yeah, this patience issue is interesting. I feel like if we just get better, get more competent, then it will also allow me to go a little bit further. Because then I won't feel like it's so hard, right? Kind of autopiloting through. Make it easier. Oh, this one needs to bleed as well. Broski. Yellowski. What is this? Here. That is the... Oh no, this bleeds through. That's fine. What am I looking at? Yo. And I take that back. Actually, this whole area is clothing, if I remember correctly. So this should just bleed through. I need to avoid the hair here. Oh, I forgot to do my Arknights daily, I think. Because of the daylight saving times, it's so awkward for me to do it now. I used to be able to do it just before I sleep. But now it's at 2 a.m. It gets really late. I hate this clock changing nonsense. Oh, what am I doing, dude? Oh, broski. I drop that, and then I just push this. This side only. Drop this. Drop this. Wait, am I painting clothing or am I painting... Okay, yeah, I'm getting too tired, I think. Holy shit. What the... This is on top, right? So I'm saying pants are gonna be below. That's fine. That's fine. Sure. And no, different color. Not too worried about this part. Not too worried at all. Propel. I need the thing here. Oh, this typo is insane. Reload it in now. Grabby, grab. So colors are interesting here. I don't really know if I want to go with the... Oh, I should just go with it, I think. I need to make it more hard. What? Make it more complicated here. What is this? Skin. Oh, right. Okay. A bit more orange with the lighting, maybe. Do I just go with the same colors? Hmm. Don't really like the shoes. I don't really like the colors in general. Very dark. More orangey. Skin is actually darker, huh? I see. No, that should be the... Yeah, I really should have used layers for the background. I mean, it's not too late. It's not like we did anything. But I thought about it and then I decided to not use it. I feel like every time I decided to do that, I would later on decide that it's a stupid idea to not have done it. Get rid of these guys real quick. Where is it? Okay. Let's lock off them. What color should I use? Chocolate name. Hairline. Yeah, that's interesting as well. It's kind of selective. Okay. Where's my selection? Almost feels like I should have 2 layers. Interesting. Right. So what should come first here, right? Shouldn't the background color be in check first before I do the character? But then the interesting thing would then be I don't know how much to render the background until the character is rendered because the character is the focal, and then based on what we perceive, like based on that, we will evaluate everything as a whole as we try to render the background a little bit more bit by bit to the point where we are like, oh, okay, that's enough because it's enough detail for the background to read, and then the foreground character is already done, and then the balance feels okay. So I guess I have to do color blobs for the back, do some gradients, color blobs, get the gist of the idea in, go back to the main character, figure out the color, do the rendering, and then go back to the background and finish off the rendering. It would be, I think, maybe most natural, I guess. Because if I do character now, I have to guess at what the background colors might be. If this was original, I guess we're still in the color rough stage, then in which case it doesn't really matter. It's kind of going back and forth as well. Okay, that also makes sense. But if it's color rough, then perhaps we shouldn't have bothered with layers. Because then there's unnecessary complexity. We would just want to paint colors in, airbrush colors in, and just get things to look good-ish, colors-wise. So, what am I saying here? If we ignore the character for now, we're still in the color rough stage for the background. Ah, shit, this should have been cut up as well. No, some layers are necessary because the airbrushes are going to affect things a little bit too much if I don't. So, that's fine. Okay, so what I'm saying is I should just start painting here a little bit and then get the colors in the right vibes. And then we can go back and split stuff up. And then go from there towards final render. Which is meant to be simplified, by the way. So we have to figure that out. Oh, sorry, those are clouds. I'm doing it backwards. Anyways, I do need a set of buildings here. So I would like to have my buildings back. Thank you very much. Oh shit, that's on top. That's so awkward. You go away first. Oh, I do need to nuke the entire background. It's just getting in the way. The background is just gonna be like that. It's not quite bright enough, is it? I just wanted like a really bright area here. Not sure what color I'm looking. Oh, there's a lot more gray here. Actually, I can put some of this in. Too high? No, not yet. It's because I don't have the back. So I want secondary on this. And I want you guys to be. This would be the one on top. This would be the one below. Indeed. Just block it. Okay, blocking. Thereabouts is fine. Building should be in between. This is building, right? Yes. Okay, so building comes in. Thereabouts is okay. Thanks. Gonna delete this layer and restart. Slightly darker version of the back. Be a little bit too blue here. That's fine for now. I have a problem reading this skill. Every time I think I draw things a little bit too big. Yeah. I barely see these relative to the building here. Main setup is complete. Might be another layer for the coastline, but then I can ignore it for now. They should be split, so I'm gonna erase these guys here. Take it, I erase it. Put it below. Oops, that's good. It's the wrong side. And then the colors. Kinda confused about the sky. It is overexposed, I think. Can't really see much. You what, Mike? The buildings are the biggest offenders at this point. Push this, push more blue, push it in here. Okay. Is this okay? That's about it. The dark oaks. The dark oaks. Huh? No. That's not too vivid. Oh, okay. I don't think I give him enough wood. Okay, that's fine. Fix it later. these are my biggest enemies for sure. Holy shit. I have no patience for it. But if I go fast, unless I really know why I'm doing or what I'm doing, it's pretty much guaranteed to fail. I think so many times in the past. Man, I can remember all those times where I tried doing this shit and just gave up. Because didn't look right. And it didn't. But I guess I didn't have the patience to fix it. That is the main problem. Oh, it should also be its own thing, I think. Since we're doing this anyways. Kinda sick. This is the way forwards, I'm sure. From colors into shapes. Find out the balance of the shapes that I want. And then if we can do that, we win. We're done. No, this one's hard. Actually, what color am I looking at? Kind of dark, though. But it's very fine, though, if that's the case. Oh, that would be a good way to do this. Anyways, I'll probably hop off here. I think it's it's been nice so far. I think I don't necessarily feel like I know where I'm going, but I do feel more in control. I feel like just putting color blobs like this isn't as scary as it was a year ago for sure. And then once the colors are there, um, it shouldn't be too big of a leap. Okay, we do have to figure out the shapes, right? How we want to represent the waves and how we want to represent the pebbles on the walkway here, as well as the windows and like the trees and all that. But like we're pretty close, right? Like once we can find a good set of shapes that we like, we can really kind of like bash colors in without, you know, killing myself. So it should come together pretty nicely. It's just whether if the result I feel like I like, but then that's not really a problem either, right? If I don't like the style simplifications or stylize or like the shapes, I would just change it. No one says I can't change it either. Maybe this was the correct way to go. Anyways, I will go make some dinner. It's 12:30 a.m. Very good, very cool. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll try to wrap this. We'll definitely wrap it up tomorrow. Sorry, I will wrap it up tomorrow, and then we'll see how it ends up. Yes, the process has been stable. Thank you, the virus. Good night, Uni. Goodbye, guys. Thanks for coming. See you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.